Welcome back, everyone. In today's episode, we'll dive deep into a thought-provoking topic, the promises made by our parents and the concept of promises in the spiritual realm, specifically the fourth dimension. So, B, how do you feel about promises people make, especially when they're not kept?
It's always a touchy subject, right? I think we all have expectations when promises are made to us. But what happens when those promises aren't fulfilled, especially when they involve our parents? I mean, my parents, before they passed, promised me certain things, like land, and I always wondered why they couldn't keep those promises. Does the promise still hold any weight after they're gone?
That's the big question, isn't it? In the fourth dimension, it's not about whether a promise was written down or not. It's about the quality of energy behind the words. If the promise wasn't made with the right intent, with the proper depth and seriousness, it may not carry the same weight as we think it does.
Exactly. And the interesting part is, it's not just about us getting frustrated when promises aren't fulfilled. It's about how both sides perceive the promise. You know, our parents might have said something like, "I'll give you 10 rice patties when you get married." But did we really absorb the significance of that promise at the time?
Right, it's not always about the words. It's about the energy. If we don't really feel the weight of those words, how can we expect them to manifest? The law of grand nature teaches us that promises are not just verbal agreements. They have energy attached to them. If both sides don't fully acknowledge that energy, it's not a valid promise.
So it's a two-way street. It's not just about what we say, it's about how the other person receives it. If they don't perceive it with the right energy, then it might as well be empty words.
Exactly. And here's the kicker. In the human world, we can easily change a promise to suit us, right? But in the fourth dimension, it doesn't work that way. There's no room for error, not even a millimeter. So if one person isn't fully on board with the promise, it doesn't hold.
That's fascinating. It makes me think, though, what about the idea of accepting the promise? If we didn't truly take it seriously when our parents made it, is it still their fault for not keeping it?
It's not their fault at all. When the promise was made, we might have brushed it off, thinking it was just a casual statement. But the fourth dimension is different. If we didn't accept the promise fully, it's on us. The one who didn't receive it carefully is the one who ends up frustrated, not the one who made the promise.
So this whole idea of energy and perception really shifts the blame. In a way, it's about how we receive things, not just how they're given.
Exactly. This is what the law of grand nature is all about. It's about being careful with promises, recognizing the energy behind them, and ensuring both parties are fully present in the moment. If we don't do that, we can't expect the promise to come true.
And in the end, it's not about blaming anyone. It's about understanding how the universe works, how we interact with energy, and how we accept or reject promises. Everything operates on this energy exchange, and it's all about balance and harmony.
So, the next time someone promises you something, you have to ask yourself, did I truly accept this promise with the right energy? Because in the end, it's the energy of acceptance that makes or breaks a promise, not the words themselves.
Wow, this really gives a whole new perspective on promises and relationships. It's a lesson we can apply to our lives, not just spiritually, but with the people around us. How we give and receive promises can change everything.
Definitely. And to wrap things up, I'd like to leave our listeners with this question. When you make a promise, do you really understand the weight behind it? And when others make promises to you, are you accepting them fully? That's the essence of how promises work in both our world and the fourth dimension.
Something to think about for sure. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Keep your promises, and remember, it's not just what you say, but how you say it. Take care.
See you next time.